and my feet are just in there.
Awesome. Okay. You're live.
We are?
Yep.
Oh, that's scary.
Now I just need to check the audio.
Maybe.
You're like, why am I
I'm gonna
nervous?
say
Right.
something into the mic.
You're fine. You're fine. You're gonna do
No,
great.
no, it's live. Yeah, it is live. Okay. There's 3 people watching.
Right. Okay.
My mom.
If you can hear it, can you write
Luke,
something in the
Emily.
I want to make sure the audio is. Wait, can you say something again into the microphone?
Hello, hello. Milton also say something because you're brother.
Hello. I have to talk loud.
Properties.
Yeah, you might. You
And
just
not
want to
mumble.
switch? We can switch.
No, it's okay.
It's fine.
Your voice
No,
is literally not
it's
even gonna
fine.
be picked up.
It's fine. Oh, it's fine.
It's okay. I can
You're like gonna get tired 5 minutes in.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, I put it at 800%, so we should be. We should have very sensitive audio now, so we can talk. You can mumble now.
Okay.
And I'll pop the chat out.
No one said anything in the chat still though. Oh wait, oh my god, yeah.
Full screen. Big chat.
Can they hear? If you can hear in the chat, please say yes.
Please say yes.
Please say something.
Say yes and like the video.
Pretty please.
Okay.
Pretty please.
Should we be able to see ourselves? Do you want to do that? Or that'd be distracting.
Yes.
Should we be able to?
Okay, you know what? It works. The audio works. Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Answer my own question. Oh, Aiden.
Aiden.
Yeah. That means it's not my mom. She's not here.
Tell her it's ready.
Yeah.
Yay!
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Public Health and Medicine Senior Interview. Today's guests are Nidhi and Milton.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
So how are you two doing today?
We're doing good.
Oh, doing well. Yeah.
That's good to hear. So for the viewers, please tell us your name, major, and age.
Okay. My name is Nidhi. My major is biochemistry, and I'm 18 years old.
My name is Milton. I'm a biology major, and I am also 18 years old.
Awesome. So for a little background, where did both of you guys grow up?
Oh, grew up. I grew up in LA County, northern LA County, and I was there pretty much all my life, and then I just moved to Pasadena around when I started college at Cal State LA.
I grew up around Diamond Bar, Rolling Heights area, which is about like a 40-minute drive east of campus.
Did you have any, or first of all, when did both of you join EEP?
When we both joined fall 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any expectations of what EEP was going to be like before you joined?
Expectations. I think I thought it was going to be like really, I guess, competitive. Because it's a group of a lot of gifted kids, right? That's what it is by definition, and that isn't really what it. There is like an aspect of competition, but it's more in the sense of like encouragement. So yeah.
Right. I had one of my siblings who used to come here, so I was given that understanding of what the entire community was like. And he said it was very welcoming, so sort of had that pre-existing knowledge coming into.
Yeah. And for me, actually, because I didn't have like a sibling like that, so I didn't know what EEP would be like going into it. But the honors college experience is what really did it for me. And prior to the honors, or not honors college, honors academy experience during the summer, I always say a lot of the time, like if like that experience is what made me want to go to EEP, because prior to that I was more hesitant about like that aspect of missing the high school environment and that kind of or those experiences. But then being in the Honors Academy and learning more about the EEP culture is what made me realize, no, it's not really that dramatic of a change, you know? Like, obviously it is a transition, but we have a community that's really supportive and understanding and socially involved. So.
Right, yeah, like Nidhi said, it's the Honors Academy experience, those 5 weeks definitely helped solidify my decision to join EEP, since there were a lot of friends I made, and I'm still friends with them now. So that made it a big part of why I wanted to join.
So, what grades were you guys in before coming to college?
8th.
I was a freshman in high school.
Okay. So for Milton, what made you want to come to EEP in the first place? Were you like Nidhi, sort of on the fence?
I guess since I had 1 year of high school already under my belt, I thought that based on the courses I took, the entire environment of high school, it wasn't really for me. It was more like I could be doing more in a way, and this program essentially was a gateway to me achieving what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah, it opens up a lot of opportunities, you know, for research or for other programs and things that you don't get access to as a high school student.
So I know that you guys went over like some of the default questions I sent you, and so I have those on here in case you want to answer them. So it's like, what advice would you give yourself in your first semester of college? Do either of you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess my advice for my first semester in college would be to sort of get out of my shell, right? Because I stayed within my own friend group of EEPsters, and that was sort of, while that was good and it built strong connections with those EEPsters, I think over time that still would have developed how it did, but creating relationships and friendships with other EEPsters, like older years or other college students as well, would probably have been more beneficial in the long term, since those are better connections in the future, or just getting advice from them is also really helpful.
Nothing really specific for me, honestly.
Yeah, that's cool. What would you say are the pressures and freedoms that come with beginning college before the normal or accepted age?
Yeah, I think like what I was saying before. It was pressures, and the second part was
Freedoms.
Yeah, I think what I was saying before, like about it opens up more opportunities for different programs. If you're in STEM, then like research, and just like getting exposure in a lot more specific way that will help you with like career planning and things like that I feel like you may not get in high school. Being around like the environment of like kids that are older than you, it's like a lot more motivating and helps you push yourself further as well. Yeah.
Pressures wise, I think, I mean, as a young person, like teenager going into college, it's very daunting, and especially since it's just a new environment, no one really knows what's going to happen, and you're just put into this scenario. It's definitely something that you need to prepare yourself for. So besides that, other pressures I guess would be, at least in my case, living up to expectations that my siblings have put. So that was another thing. Also, I guess um, other high school people that I knew and them knowing that I went into this environment of college and they were like, oh, so you're advanced, you'd say, so you have to live up to that sort of um, idea.
I think also it's interesting regarding the pressures because it's like from different communities and different types of people, you get vastly different responses, you know, like from kind of strangers or like people you may not know as well. You tell them that you're in this program, and they're like, "Wow, you know, that's insane. You're doing so amazing. You're going to do great things in the world." Versus being in this program, I have like 100 other kids who are just like me, and you know, you don't really feel that kind of way. So it's interesting getting all those different perspectives when you're in this program.
Right, yeah. I totally like do you want to talk more about like the discrepancy between what people will perceive this program as versus what it's actually like existing in this community?
Yeah, I think people perceive this program as a bunch of smart kids trying to compete with each other to try to be the best. And while that is a shared identity across all EEPSers and they want to try to do their best in their coursework, they want to succeed, I think it's more of the fact that we are all trying to help each other become the best that we can. It's not more of a competition, it's more of a collaborative effort to support each other, help each other with homework, just make sure that we're the best that we can be.
And sometimes it is like difficult sometimes because we're in this unique position. It's like maybe you're like if you're doing like admissions or applications to things, like how are the people on the applications board going to perceive me? Like, are they going to see my age and see my enrollment in this program as like positive and as something that shows my intellect, or are they going to perceive it as, oh, she's younger, oh, she's
Less
making
competent.
rash decisions, right? So it's hard not really knowing what to expect when there's so many different ideas around it.
What do you think? Who do you turn to when you're sort of met with all of these new experiences and these unique situations? What resources do you guys use?
I think for me, my friends were just so important to me, especially like in my first year, and being in like the kitchen. It was such an inviting and it was such a comforting environment. Everyone was really supportive, and that environment is what helped guide me into college. And then continuing on, like as I got more comfortable talking to other EEPsters, I've also like when it comes to like for me like medicine for medical school for things for my gap year, like I've become more comfortable talking to people in the years above me and asking them for advice. And I think that's really been valuable too because they've had the same experiences as me as being younger, and so maybe they have a better insight into like how to go about things, how to frame themselves, and what experiences will truly help to like make their applications or make their resumes be more well-rounded.
Right, yeah. I think for me, it would be definitely friends and family as a sort of support group, just to bounce ideas off of, take advice from, just see how they feel about something that I'm doing, and if that's gauging different perspectives, seeing how whether that might be a good idea, if there's another option, stuff like that. Just seeing how there's just different opinions and ideas, and seeing how they are.
All right. So, career change. Both of you changed majors at a certain point during your college career. When was that? How did it happen? Why did it happen? Tell me more about that.
I'll go first. So I was a biochemistry major my first and second year, and I decided to switch to biology my first semester of my third year. So it was sort of um a pretty quick decision for me. I took one micro class, which I usually go back to this whenever people ask why I switched majors, because that one micro class and the things that came out of taking that class was the most influential for me. Um, I joined a research lab through that class, and that research lab helped me figure out what I wanted to do and why I wanted to switch, and it led me to public health.
Yes. So I started off computer science. I declared that major in the middle of my first semester. And then I took two computer science courses, just the introductory programming ones. It was interesting. Like I didn't specifically hate it or feel like I would fail in it or anything like that. It wasn't that drastic, but I didn't feel a satisfaction, and I didn't feel like I could really go on and do that for the rest of my life and feel complete. I think a big part of that was because I felt some parental pressure to go into computer science, and like although they may not have told me directly you should declare, I did feel that pressure, and so I think I felt like it wasn't really my choice, and I wanted to have that choice and I wanted to have that autonomy so I could like go into the future and feel confident that I'm the one who did this. I worked hard. I chose this. And so for a while I was a bit confused about what I wanted to do. I did a bunch of research about different career paths. I made like one of those, I think it's like an ikigai chart where it's like a 4 circles, and it's like what the world needs, what you're good at, and like 2 other categories.
Oh,
and
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah, I filled out one of those, and I still have it up in my room. So it's like my motivation, I guess. You know, it brings
really
me back,
cool.
makes me think about what I was thinking then and what motivated me, so I can keep like building on that, right? And so after that time, I did end up deciding, oh, I want to go into medicine. Specifically, I was interested in going into OBGYN. But it's up to question, you know. I'll see based on after I'm in medical school and after I explore more specialties. But that is a field of interest for me, especially like women's health and things like that are a field of interest for me. And so in order to pursue medicine, I switched into biochemistry in my second year. And I've been working on that since. Yeah, I've also not a big switch, but I've gotten more interested in public health as well, and that's been through my experiences in SHAC, the Student Health Advisory Committee, because that does a lot of activities related to like health education and health promotion, and so getting that exposure kind of ties into my interest in women's health, right? So now my career plans are to get an MD and then also potentially get an MPH in order to concurrently do some work for women's health advocacy in the future.
What does MPH stand for again?
Master's in Public Health.
Okay. So I was holding on to this question for Milton.
Okay.
Was there anything in particular about that microbiology class that sort of piqued your interest?
I guess it was the first class I took, or lab that I took in person because of COVID. So the pandemic really made labs and all those science STEM lectures and labs online. So there was no real experimenting. There was just you watch a video, you write a report on it. That's about it.
You wash your hands virtually.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that micro lab was the first experience I had in an actual lab doing experiments using pipettes, looking at microorganisms, looking at different slides, different cells, all that stuff. And that not only piqued my interest, but it was something that I had a little bit of interest in before, but that really elevated my experience to go for it. So, yeah.
But you're not going into research.
I am still, it's still in the
Okay,
air.
okay, okay.
It's still in the air. I am currently in a research lab, right? So I'm doing some stuff in that microbiology professor's lab, and I think it's pretty relevant to public health in general, and what I wanted to do after my bachelor's degree. So after my bachelor's degree, I plan to go into an MPH program. I've heard back from a few schools that I'm still deciding where exactly, but that MPH would specialize in epidemiology, which focuses on diseases and how they sort of transfer between populations and how they affect different groups.
And then, since we mentioned it, as far as research labs, I'm in Dr. Selke's research lab. We study organic chemistry, and my project is about synthetic oxygen quenching virus Veratrol. So, if anyone's interested, Dr. Selke is a great PI. I know the title's a little confusing, but it's a really welcoming environment, and you can reach out to me, ask me any questions. Milton, your research lab?
Yeah, my research lab is with Dr. Park. She is that microbiology professor. It focuses on fungal pathogenesis. Right now, we are currently working on various experiments, but the main one we're doing right now is how LED light or blue light affects the growth, or it inhibits the growth of certain microorganisms. And the main one we focus on right now is a fungus called Candida albicans, which can lead to various yeast infections within the female reproductive tract. And that's what we're sort of trying to find out ways to inhibit the growth.
Nidhi, do you want to talk more about, you said a confusing title. Do you want to elaborate on more what it actually is?
Yeah, sure. I won't go into too much detail because it's kind of outside the scope, but we basically determine the quenching ability,
What
which
is quenching?
means removal of synthetic oxygen. So to take the compound out of the system, whether that be by reacting with it or by physically taking energy away, whatever form. So we study how well the compound resveratrol is able to do that. And that's an organic compound. It's in blueberries, it's in peanuts, grapes, wine. It's actually interesting. It's a small part of the reason why some people might say that wine is good for you, at least a moderate consumption of wine, because of the possible antioxidant effects. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I have a question for you, Nidhi.
Okay.
Why did you decide to join this lab?
Because I wanted to get to know Dr. Selke better, honestly. I knew that he was a good professor. I didn't get to take organic chemistry with him because I was like on the off season. So like he always teaches fall, spring, but I took it spring, fall. So I didn't get to take it with him. But I knew he was a really good professor. A lot of upper years talked highly of him. So I was like, you know what? Sure. Because, you know, the PI and the PI meaning principal investigator, so it's like whoever your advisor is. The PI is as important to a research lab as the actual research is, because that determines, it's a big determinant in how much you're going to enjoy it, because, you know, a more strict PI, maybe you have a lot of other commitments, you don't want to contribute as many hours to the lab. A strict PI is going to make that kind of sucky for you. Versus Dr. Selke, he's really flexible, he's really understanding. And he explains things really well. He's available to meet basically anytime, and so that's the main reason why I decided to join that lab over the actual topic.
Oh, okay. How did you guys sort of initially break through into these research groups that you're in now?
I was in communication with an upper year. Her name is Charlotte. She's already graduated. She's pursuing her MD PhD right now at some school in Pennsylvania. Yeah. But yeah, she was in the lab and I had her contact, and so I had talked to her about it and gotten her perspective, and then I joined one of the group meetings she invited me to, and then I eventually joined officially.
Right. I think I took the more non-communication way. I sort of looked up research labs at Cal State LA, biology, and then stumbled across this one, and then I ended up taking her class, like, in micro. So that sort of connection helped me get into the lab, get all the experience I did, and do all that.
Usually, if you're interested in joining a research lab, for anyone in the audience, you should really, like, if you taken a class with them, that's a good starting point, or if you know someone who's in their lab, that way they can kind of recommend you, so it's not like a random kid asking. But also, don't feel scared to just reach out to a professor who you've never talked to before. That's also fine, especially if you're really interested in their research.
Yeah, I think it's okay to be a random kid asking
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
because
For sure.
it's kind of it's the starting point, and I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All it takes is just like one question, just like,
Yeah.
hey, can I join your lab? They'll be like, yeah, sure, definitely, we have space. Because I think most professors, if not all, they will definitely take in more hands to help. So just shoot your shot.
Yeah. Totally.
Doesn't hurt.
So Milton,
Yeah.
you are the Chief Justice at Cal State LA's Associated Students Incorporated.
Right.
What's that job like?
It's pretty interesting for sure. I help with, I guess the position description of Chief Justice is to act as the judicial branch of, you know how there's three branches of government, there's the legislative, executive, and judicial. That's my sort of area where I work with. I work with different policies and procedures and making sure all the committees in ASI are in line with those and they're not like doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. I make sure that elections go well and manage grievances for those. Elections are happening now, and those are pretty important. So there's a lot of stuff that we need to get sorted out, like events, make sure people go out there and vote. And yeah, we just manage like the bylaws and different codes of procedures within ASI.
Cool.
Yeah.
You want to share some stuff about ASI in general for anyone who might be
Yeah.
looking to join?
If anyone wants to join ASI, you can either try for an appointed position, which there's applications all on the website where you can get experience in, and then you can also run for various elected positions. Even though the elections the elections window to apply is finished, there's always going to be future elections. So don't be scared to join ASI. It's a great experience. There's usually a decent amount of EEPSers in it because EEPSers want to be included in a position. Sure, that works. Yeah, in a position of power where they can just they can sort of have their voice heard and help other students have their voice heard.
You're also compensated.
You are also paid. GIA stipends, you get them every few weeks, but it's a nice little bonus.
And you don't need a work permit, right?
You don't need a work permit. You just apply, and then you go through this application process, and then they see whether you're fit or not, and then you get in.
Cool. So Nidhi, you are the president of SHAC. This, for anyone who doesn't know, the Student Health Advisory Committee here at Cal State LA. What is your job like?
Yeah. So the Student Health Advisory Committee, which I'd like to note, the name is actually going to be changing to Student Health Ambassadors at Cal State LA. So starting from next semester. But it still be SHAC, and so SHAC is a branch of the Student Health Center. If you've ever seen the yellow huts, usually outside the Student Health Center, yeah, that's who we are. We're out there at least once a week talking about different topics in health and wellness. Some examples might be like healthy meal options on campus, or sleep hygiene, or we did also like some stuff like Black History Month, LGBTQ plus History Month, and those kinds of topics. And yeah, so it is comprised of students, and as a part of SHAC, the students are trained in peer health education, mental health first aid, so they're able to learn how to do research about health and wellness topics, and then prepare all the materials for it, prepare the script, prepare the activities and whiteboard and everything. And then also, students get a lot of experience in like leadership, public speaking, on the day of, talking to just random students that walk by. Really gets you out of your shell, really gets you comfortable talking about different health and wellness topics. For me, I had started off as just a regular committee member, and that was when we were virtual during the pandemic. And then once I got into this academic year, I ran for the position of president. And I've also been a co-chair for the Alcohol and Other Drugs Committee. And I want to talk about that too, because that was a pretty impactful experience for me, because alcohol and other drugs, like talking about those topics in an acceptable manner, in a way that's trauma informed, in a way that's understanding, was something that was new to me, and it was an experience that I really valued. And then just generally as president, I've also gained lots of leadership experience, obviously teamwork. We really value communication, so learning how to talk to different groups of people in a way that's like, say you're like dealing with conflict, or like people who are failing to communicate, and figuring out how to talk to them and how to work with them in a way that's still understanding of what they may be going through, because being understanding and being accepting is something that's really important in our workspace. Oh yes, and then also as part of that, I also work part-time in the Student Health Center, helping out with the programming for the health huts, and then also for any other programs or workshops that the Health Promotion and Education Center is hosting. So that's what, like I mentioned earlier, it's given me a lot of perspective into like health education and health advocacy and promotion in a wide scale kind of fashion, tailoring it to like all students in higher education. And yeah, like it's been a really good experience that's gotten me interested in public health.
Yeah, that's really incredible. So for anyone
interested, we actually do have applications open right now. The deadline is
applications for
SHAC, to join SHAC.
Okay.
Yeah. The deadline is March 31st. You should be able to find it on our Instagram, which is Cal State LA SHAC. Yeah, I highly recommend you join. It's a great experience.
You both seem really involved here on campus. How do you balance sort of this intense involvement alongside classes and research labs?
Yeah. Very good question.
I'd say it's not easy, right? It's definitely a lot of time management going to different things. You need to make sure that you have time for specific meetings in your orgs. Um, you have time for research lab because if you're in a research lab, there's a certain amount of hours per week technically, but some talks are lenient with it. Um, it's a lot of time management, and it's important that you have everything scheduled out and you don't miss anything, because that's really important, especially if you want to be a reliable person in your organization, right? You want to make sure that you attend everything, you don't want to miss anything. I think it's especially important if you need to miss something, you communicate well with whoever you need to, your supervisors, and make sure that they know that you can't make it. But that's just some of the things.
Yeah, it's definitely it's been a journey figuring out how to organize these different my time. But I think involvement is really important for the experiences that it can gain for you, and then also just for the community that it brings. As far as like maybe specifics about how I go about it, I think I feel like throughout my college years I've really gotten good at like discipline. But also like I'll like write everything down, right? Like whether it be on post-it notes or whether it be in a notes app, write everything down so it's out of your head. Because when you have like 10 different things and you're thinking about all the things, it's too much, right? And then you forget, and then you like get hard on yourself because you're like, oh, I keep forgetting, I'm too unreliable. But if you just write everything down, then it's not a problem, right? And then scheduling, I use calendar apps a lot. Put everything on there so I don't forget anything. I usually like to at least like take time at least one day for however long it takes, just to like think about every class I'm taking, every commitment that I have, and what do I need to do for that for this week. And then based on that, I can plan out what I'm going to do each day. And so I have like a rough schedule of what I'm going to be doing. I don't like putting specific times because then like I miss one time and then I feel unmotivated to do everything else, right? So just being like understanding and lenient with yourself too, because sometimes you just don't have the energy, sometimes you can't do it. And so you just have to adjust, just like how you would do like with someone else. Like if someone else had a responsibility and they didn't complete it, you're not gonna like say mean things to them. You're gonna be like, okay, what can we do now? How can we work around this? And that's how you should be treating yourself too, right? Treat yourself with kindness.
Yeah, I think that's a really important message. And also sort of brings up the topic of mental health and mental health in this position that we've understood to have a lot of expectations. If you guys are comfortable, do you want to share any of your experiences with that?
Yeah. I'm really grateful to EEP because of the change that it brought for me. I think that when I was in middle school, it was difficult finding motivation for certain things, and I did struggle with that mental health a little bit. But then when I came into EEP, it was like new, it was different, and so that gave me a little bit of a boost. And I think going into COVID, it was also difficult being like virtual and not really seeing people. I would isolate myself a lot from the rest of my family. But we worked through it, right? And always like there's lots of resources out there. Just utilizing those resources. It's not like shameful. It doesn't mean that you can't deal with things by yourself. It's not bad at all. It's just another tool, you know? And decreasing that stigma is pretty valuable. And you know how you do it is just like by talking about it, right? Um, um, sorry. Yeah, no, just like take care of yourself, you know, like make sure that you're finding time for your hobbies because those are just as valuable. Like it's not dispensable. It's like it's as equal in importance as your homework assignments, right? So if you're not able to do both, then you're not gonna only scrap your hobbies. You're gonna have to scrap half and half.
Right, as you mentioned, there's a lot of stigmas that come with mental health, but I think the most important thing is finding your support group who you can reach out to all the time and make sure that you check up with them, they check up with you, you make sure that they're okay, they make sure you're fine. It's important that you can talk with people about what's happening and they understand how you're feeling and they're accepting of it. And that support group and through EEP was especially one that was really important for me. Because I still have some friends through high school and I'm able to talk to them about some stuff as well, but since we constantly see each other, EEPsters, since they constantly interact with each other every day, it's just easier to talk about things that are happening, right? Classes, things that they can relate to. But as Nidhi mentioned, like making sure you have time for your hobbies, to take time to relax. That's what the weekends are for. You can just chill and not stress about some stuff. But yeah.
Do you guys want to talk about like any of your hobbies outside of academia?
Sure. Yeah. I like to play volleyball. I like music and listening to music. I like singing. I don't really sing that much. I used to do like choir and things. Um, but every so often, usually like with Emily, you know, Emily will play piano and I'll sing.
That's nice.
I like hanging out with friends. I'm a big planner, so I will try to reach out and plan a lot of things and put it on my calendar.
Cool.
As for me, I like playing sports, basketball, football, or some other stuff. Play video games. It's a great way to sort of like not think, just like it's mindless hours. But
Totally.
it's a great way to just like take my mind off things. Friends, hanging out with them, just getting to talk. Like, I guess I'm usually communicating with them a lot, just like in calls, like voice chats, so like Discord, FaceTime, just texting, being able to talk to them about how they're doing, and just random stuff. It's just a great way to just like rant.
Nice.
Watching anime.
That is another one. Yeah, that is a good one.
Do you have any recommendations?
You first?
I don't know. Because I feel like my top anime that I like are.
Don't be ashamed.
It's like if you it's a weird first anime to watch because I have to admit that there's like some weird parts. But I think a lot of people do recommend Attack on Titan as a first anime, but I've never watched it. So
Okay, what are your
hopefully I get-
favorites?
My favorite is Death Note. My second favorite is Disastrous Life of Psyche K, and I won't say my third favorite.
Okay, those are good picks.
I'd say my top is Steins Gate. It's about time travel, different universe, time stuff. It's pretty confusing, but it's really, the characters are really good. I like the entire plot of it. Right now, I am deep into the rabbit hole of One Piece. So, we are grinding that out, but I highly recommend it. It's very good.
It's on his to-do list.
It is on my to-do list. At least a few episodes of One Piece every day. We're
Wow.
about a third of the way
Oh
there,
my god.
and it's been about probably a year since I started it, so it could be a while, but we're going through it.
Nice. Both of you have been heavily involved in EEP Club. We're switching topics here. For someone who maybe doesn't know what it is, what is it and what role does it play in the EEP community?
Right. Okay. So EEP Club is an important club that is within the program, and all EEPsters are open to joining. It is essentially like a sort of high school-esque organization, student government type of thing that holds events for EEPsters or honors college students as well. And it's a way for them to create a closer bond with each other and establish that community of EEPsters. We hold events like Big Bear, Catalina, Formal, which is coming up soon, and everyone should go if you have not already. Oh, I should
Soon as in tomorrow night.
Yes, it's literally tomorrow, or 2 days from now.
2 days,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's on Sunday?
Yeah, it's
It's on Sunday, yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Sorry.
It's a great way to sort of interact with all the other EEPsters, especially since it's hard to interact with like lower years, upper years, depending on like whether you're sort of close with them. But EEP Club is a way to just like get everyone together.
Especially after the changes in
The kitchen.
the kitchen and the lounge. And it's unfortunate.
But it's a great way to get people together.
I saw you got up there to look at the
I
questions.
feel like we might have already addressed them. One was like, what would be your advice to your 4 years younger self who was skipping high school? So we kind of already talked about that. And then it was other one. I think, do you ever feel overwhelmed with your classes? Do you feel you are missing out on anything? Overwhelmed. Yeah, definitely. Everyone feels that way at one point or another. And it's completely valid and it's completely okay to feel those things. And then just the important part is like feel it, and then as soon as you're ready, start making your action plan. Like, what are you gonna do to make this better, right? Whether that be like if you need to reach out for help, whether that be academic or some other way. And then how are you, like, what are the gaps? Like, what is missing? Why am I feeling this way? Am I not getting enough time to study? How do I make more time to study? And then, you know, if necessary, maybe you have to withdraw from a class, you know? And it's okay, you know? It doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you need time. And it means that you have another opportunity the next semester or the next year to try again. Yeah.
Definitely, I think when it comes to being overwhelmed with just everything that's going on, since it can be hard to manage classes, extracurriculars, your own hobbies, I think it's good to just take a break and like not think about all the stressful stuff for a while.
Mhm.
Just like if it's an hour, maybe even a day, just take a break from school, do things that you like, you enjoy, then come back to whatever it is you need to do with a fresh mind.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
helps.
It's always valuable. It's like sometimes you feel really, really overwhelmed because you have like 10 different things that needs to get done and you only have 12 hours to do it, right? But sometimes it just, you know, it might be more effective to just take 5 hours off and just clear your head and then come back to it. And then, I mean, even if you don't get everything done, you still feel better about yourself and maybe you're more productive. And then you make whatever adjustments necessary for the things that you're going to need more time to work on, right? Oh yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to mention, I think for me personally, I've found that having a nice balance between coursework and extracurriculars has been really valuable, because maybe when I don't feel like doing one thing, I'm able to do that other thing, and it's like it works a different part of my brain basically. Like takes a different kind of energy that I need to put into that, and so that having those two things equally, it's really refreshing for me, and so I do. That's like a possible option, instead of overloading 21 units, maybe you just step back, you take like 14 or less, and then you do more extracurriculars. And then if you need more time to graduate because you're taking less coursework, then that's fine too, because you're already young, right? And most EEPsters already do go over 4 years, right? So it's completely fine.
Right, yeah, that's one thing I want to preface. A lot of EEPsters, they really want to get it done, right? But I think this whole experience, it's important to coast, right? You don't want to rush it. You want to take your time with things. You want to make sure that you're okay with whatever you're doing. You want to make sure that your mental health is your priority. You don't want to take 21 units, 20, whatever, and then just like try to rush through it, and then at the end you're like, I wish I had taken this one class, or like something else that you wish you had done, but you didn't because you wanted to get through it. So just take your time. There's no pressure in finishing fast. You want to enjoy your college experience. Is what I'm trying to say.
And one extra year isn't gonna do any difference in the long term.
Yeah.
It's 1 year.
Yeah, I think the points you guys emphasized are really like things that I'm sort of learning through this experience. So it's really nice to hear those reinforced. So the other question was, do you feel that you're missing out on anything?
You mean in high school?
There's no
That's what it says
Oh, okay.
there. But yeah, I assume
Yeah,
that's
with the high school
sort of along
experience,
the
yeah.
lines.
I think you definitely miss out on some things in high school, but it's also different for how each person's high school experience is. Because some people, they don't feel that it's the right environment for them. They don't think that the structure of high school, like you wake up at 8, you go take classes every day till like 3, then you just finish. And some people want more of a challenge with the courses they take, so that high school experience just isn't for them. But I think EEP Club does a good job in filling in those high school experiences that were missed, like high school prom, just going on trips with friends in high school. We try to supplement that with things that EEPsters are able to do, right? Like the trips and formal and stuff.
Aren't our trips like better too?
They are.
Right?
They do be very fun.
Like when you go to Big Bear with. Do you? I don't know. I didn't go to high school.
We plan some trips, but it's not as well organized. It's more free flowing, which can be bad, but I think I think what EEP does and what the organization does as a whole is very important for everyone.
Missing out. I don't. I feel like. I feel like I'm good. I feel like I find balance with social stuff, academic stuff, personal stuff.
Along the same lines of like EEP Club, elections are coming up.
Yes,
A
they
lot
are.
of current officers are graduating. What are the expectations of the new officials moving forward? And wait, I'm not done with the question.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of discussion to be had around how EEP is evolving.
Yeah.
And so what do both of you think about those expectations and also the future of EEP Club in general?
It's changing, definitely. I think, personally, it's way more like EEP Club and the politics of it are more connected to the general EAP community and administrative decisions than I thought that it would be. And we've been experiencing that. We've been experiencing changes. We've been experiencing difficulties because of those changes due to COVID, and then due to decisions made by administrators, due to, I feel like, changes just generally in the like population demographics dynamics. You know, it's like it's interesting. Trying to remember your questions.
Yeah, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, okay. I'll try and state it more concisely. So, what are the expectations of the new officials?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I don't think that they should follow everything we did strictly, right? Because EAP community is changing, EAP club needs to change. So it is gonna be a challenge, but it's also gonna be a really good like professional development opportunity. It's gonna be a good experience for whoever's in the new board to figure out what to do, right? And it's like things like, oh, you know, there's a lot of people graduating. If the whole EAP population is gonna, like the number is gonna decrease drastically, then are we gonna have to rethink some events that we hold, right? Yeah.
I think it's each administration is different. So our administration is different from the previous administration, and that's going to be different from the future administration. So I think those that will be elected and those that are currently in EAP Club will have to sort of figure out something for the future of EAP. And I think a big thing is how there is going to be a new EAP director and how that will play into the connections between the Honors College administration and how we could possibly find better solutions for EAP in a way that helps EAPsters, if that makes sense. So as some things that the current director, the interim director, is going through is finding ways to implement like various art designs within the collaborative learning space, and how she wants to implement the use of blockers again, and she wants to re-implement the mentor system, which is definitely a big thing for just the overall community of EAP and being able to establish relationships with upper years, since the kitchen is no longer for 18 plus EAPsters. That's going to be important in making sure first years don't get disconnected. And I think part of that is because COVID and just the online era of applications, it's made it hard for current EAPsters to interact with the Honors Academy students. But I think in the future, with the implementation of mentors, it'll help create a stronger bond with everyone.
Yeah. And yeah, like Milton mentioned, like the new EAP director coming in, I think it'll be really, really valuable for the next administration to really establish a strong bond with them, and use that as a connection to express our concerns, since that is a problem we've been having. A lot of EAPsters have felt like their concerns aren't being heard, and I think the interim director has been doing a satisfactory job of trying to recognize that and listen to us, and so hopefully EAP Club can be like a gateway or a liaison, so that EAPsters are able to express those concerns. I feel like that'll be a really important role for EAP Club. Yeah.
For elections,
Oh,
they will
yes.
be coming up mid-April.
Mid-April.
So
You'll get emails from me.
if you wish to apply for elected positions, you should do it. It's a a very good experience to be in EEP Club and to lead your peers, and just it's fun.
It is fun.
Planning events. Yeah.
You learn so many things like how do you plan a big bear event, right? What are all the logistics? Figuring out the finances. I think it's really made me good at like balancing my personal finances, right? It's helped build that backing, that system for me to further and to build on for my own personal things, right? Like I could confidently go out and plan my own big bear trip now, but I could not do that before being in EEP Club, right? So it's really valuable.
Yeah. Where do you think you would be right now had you not come to the early entrance program at Cal State LA? This is another default question.
Be in high school, right? Unless I don't know. I think I'd go to high school, and then I can't predict, but I feel like high school during COVID would have really sucked for me.
Did either of you have have like a backup plan if you didn't get into EEP?
No, just high school.
High school.
Yeah, just high school. Yeah. I think maybe I don't know, because maybe I wouldn't have the same drive and motivation that I have now, because being in the environment is really what helped with that. And so I honestly don't know if I would have pursued other opportunities and if I would have gone as far as I have now if I had just gone through the regular route.
I agree with Nidhi. I think the environment that you put me in has sort of pushed me to take up like more leadership positions, get more involved with like campus orgs and stuff. Whereas high school, I probably just would have like went by, probably graduated, maybe gone to some other college, but definitely being in this this program has helped me better myself in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So
We can probably take one more question and then
oh, okay.
wrap it up. Yeah.
Right. I should be
If anyone from the audience has a question.
more time content.
No, okay, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, this is. Do either of you have an idol?
I do.
If so, why? If not, I'll choose a different question.
I think I have like different people I look up to for different things, right? Like I look up to my own friends, right? I look up to my own friends, some of them when it comes to their work habits, some of them when it comes to their fashion sense, some of when it comes to their talents, when it comes to their speaking skills, how they articulate themselves. There's different things that I look up to different people about because they have their own skills that I admire in them and that I wish I could have for myself. But no specific person, really. Right? No one that's really all encompassing like that.
Same for me. I think probably, again, family and friends, just being able to look up to what they're doing, take aspects of how they are, like what they're really good at, and trying to implement that in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no real one idol that I look up to.
Myself.
That good?
Yeah, I just want to say I really enjoyed interviewing you guys. It was really nice to hear all of this. And you guys are like so wise. I just want to say. Can we get a round of applause for these wise young people?
Thank you to Laura for interviewing us.
Thank you.
Club YouTube channel.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone who joined. We hope you
Yes.
enjoyed, and feel free to reach out if you have any follow-up questions, if you want to talk to us about anything. we're cool people.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thank you,
That's it.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Yay. Good job, guys. This was really good.
Yeah.
The stream isn't ended yet.